Well, Nutcracker is actually probably the best, or one of the best examples of collaboration, in that Petipa, the choreographer, along with his assistant Ivanov, the same two guys that made Swan Lake, actually commissioned the score from Tchaikovsky, and Petipa and Tchaikovsky work hand in hand. So there are actually notations and letters and stuff that show how Petipa said, here I need 6 bars of delighted music, and here I want a fantastic entrance for the Sugar Plum Fairy and stuff like that. And it's just interesting to think that these great artists that have had such a huge impact on our art form actually sat down and talked about this, and that Petipa was the old guard and the respected master that Tchaikovsky was wanting to please by writing exactly, like he would give him a menu, here's where I need this and here's where I need that. And there aren't notes on the entire ballet, but if you look at some of these requests of Petipa and know which section he's talking about, Tchaikovsky fulfilled his desires. You mentioned earlier that we're considering doing a new production of Nutcracker down the road, and I've been researching with the artists that I'm planning on working with. And the truth is that one tends to think, why don't we go back to the original, or let's see what the original left out of the story, or if the choreographer didn't pay attention to the composer.
The Hoffman story.
The Hoffman story, or even if the choreographer didn't pay attention to the composer didn't pay attention to the choreographer. But the truth is, it's all absolutely exact. The Hoffman story has a lot more offshoots in it, but the main story, Tchaikovsky and Petipa actually captured many of the details that were in. Tons of material there to let our imaginations run wild, which was great. And I wanted to explore some territory that maybe other productions haven't. But Balanchine, more than anyone, actually really followed what the original creators had. For most people in the United States, it's a holiday tradition that happens to be a ballet. But before, we have to give credit to the San Francisco Ballet, because I forget what year, but definitely pre-1954, they staged the first production of Nutcracker. When Balanchine did his production in 1954, is probably when it took off as a possibility of sustaining ballet companies all over the country. There was this seems like there was sort of an immediate taste for this, for whatever reason. I have my little theory about it. I like it. I don't know if it's true, but that this country is really a melting pot of cultures, and we all come from such different cultures that there needed to be one thing that united us all. Now, it might take place at Christmas, but that is really sort of secondary. I think people of a lot of different faiths, from a lot of different backgrounds, a whole Ellis Island slew of people could actually get behind this holiday tradition and have something in common, as opposed to feeling like all of your neighbors have different traditions that you don't understand. We can join forces and love. Lisa Kipp, the ballet master, and I were just saying, it's not quite as exciting getting into the studio next week as other things. However, the other side of the coin is that because we do it so frequently, we can give more people opportunities. We can see people really grow in roles because they get many chances of both rehearsing it and performing it, which is the ultimate goal, is to do it in front of people. How do you rise to that challenge? So although it's very familiar to us, we can also take pleasure in seeing young artists grow into current roles or graduate to larger roles. And actually this year we have 5 new company members who've never danced this production before. So that kind of rejuvenates everybody in the room, because it's not like everybody here's done this before, we just have to review it. It's actually, there's a bunch of people who have no idea what the steps are, and I think it's going to make everybody kind of rally around wanting to include them.
So talk a little bit about the production. We're going to hang on to Mr. B's production.
A little bit longer, yeah.
Longer.
Like I said, I have a team of people together. We're beginning to work on a new production. It's not determined exactly when it's going to happen yet. So,
and there are such memorable. I mean, I never get particularly tired of the score.
No.
For one thing, what are some of your favorites from the Christopher Stowell point of view,
Moments in the score.
Yeah, where just a whole ballet I have my favorite. Okay, I'll just come out and say it. I never get tired of Snow Highlight.
Right. Well, the whole thing is such good theater from both a choreographic standpoint and particularly from a musical standpoint. Tchaikovsky's a fantastic storyteller. Not only are they all brilliant tunes, but they actually keep the story going forward. It's not sort of an interruption to do a dance, but all the dances in the party scene are really define the characters in them, and really, I feel like it propels everything all the time. And then, of course, the great theater in the snow dance is that we've seen all this sort of theatricality, and suddenly anyway, there's this wild dancing happening, because we really haven't seen any really active dancing up until that point. So you're just beginning to get hungry for some real action, and then it's more than you even expected. It's
like one element you think that's so iconic that you're not going to mess with that.
We've kind of boiled down right now that the whole thing is about transformation, really. The transformation of a child into an adult, the transformation of a toy into a living being, the transformation of somebody's world, that what was her living room is now a fantasy land that she doesn't recognize anymore. So that's really our guiding principle right now, because we're going into this just sort of gently and one step at a time. We really want to have one core thought, and that's the one we're working with right now. But we did a survey of our audiences online to see how people felt about us doing a new production. A lot of enthusiasm and excitement behind it, but surprisingly, people are very attached to certain things, and it's nothing that I would do away with. I mean, there's going to be a Christmas tree, there's going to be snowflakes, and all that kind of thing. But in some ways, you'd think people would get tired of it, or really relish someone taking a completely new look at it. But actually, I think families, particularly maybe people that don't go to the ballet all the time, and this is their one connection to it, really want to, I hope, want to be continually newly delighted, but also there are certain things that they really, their heart is set on. And I liked hearing that, because it made me feel like I didn't have to reinvent the wheel completely, because what they're really after is a sense of...
I really appreciate just a different look, and it's like there's always this sense of creativity going on in here. It's a real pleasure to have a little bit of time with you.
Well, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
And to you too.